I don't have a lot of charge, but.
Whoa. Is that no? Not yet.
Where do you want to go?
www. Steve. I haven't really.
Oh, that's okay. You do photography in your job.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to name the place, or do you just want to say that it's a local?
Yeah, if I can.
Okay, where do you want to pull up? Because we only have a little charge. I could maybe plug in the computer, but I don't really know how that
That front page is fine.
Oh, just like this, and then you can scroll through some of that.
Yeah.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds.
You'll be able to hear yourself if you're loud enough with those.
Okay.
I think a few minutes. Yeah. Is YouTube still on? All right, we're just doing YouTube the whole time apparently. Yeah, it's still on.
For a new career with over 200 programs of study.
It's all right. Sure. I don't mind everybody watching what I do in the meantime. It's great.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
Oops. Welcome back to the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. You can tune in on our website, Hot News Talk Radio, and go to YouTube to see us live here, talking about all things Chattanooga and art, the arts, music, painting, photography, dance, anything like that. If you're involved in the arts, I'd love you give a call and say something about what you do and why you do it here in Chattanooga. You can call 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949, and tell us what you do as an artist or an artisan in Chattanooga. Love to talk to you here. We had in the last segment the Association of Visual Arts here with their grand reopening, and that's going very well. It's exciting. As always, I like to mention Nightfall, free music, lots of fun downtown at Miller Plaza on Friday nights in Chattanooga, a venue that varies of different bands that you can just Google Nightfall Chattanooga and you can see the list of the bands that are here. And just go down and enjoy with your family. Fountains, beer, music, dancing. It's awesome and it's free. So today, this segment, we have with us a local photographer, Stephen, you said Stiefel.
Stiefel.
Stephen Stiefel. And Stephen does beautiful photography of a variety of types, which we're going to attempt to show and describe with my tablet here. So Stephen, you are a local photographer here in Chattanooga. Is that your full-time career?
Well, I work in marketing and sort of work in visual content marketing is my specialty. But I love photography and especially fine art photography. So yeah, that's and that last segment talking to Ava was awesome. I learned a lot, and they do wonderful things, and so good job on that interview.
They do, and photography is part, I believe, of Four Bridges as well. So,
yes,
like you said, all avenues, all venues of artists are welcome to apply to different shows at Ava. And if you go to their website, and you can see they're called artists and what the shows are about, what sort of thing is you're open to apply for. Same at all the other galleries. If you Google all the galleries in Chattanooga, you can find out what they have coming up, what they're seeking to hang in their gallery, and talk to them about how to get your work in there.
Yes,
because that's where it starts. Get your work out there. And share it. So
yes, I'm originally from Fort Payne, just about an hour down the road, but I've moved to Chattanooga a couple years ago, and I love this community. It's just so full of life, and I just love Nightfall. I love the different opportunities and the artists here in town. It's just a wonderful place. So I'm happy to have settled here.
Now, do you have current? You've shown in other shows. You've shown your photography.
Right.
In cities, but not yet in Chattanooga, you said?
That's correct. I've mostly shown in Alabama, around the Mentone, Fort Payne area. different galleries around there. It's kind of an artistic area in Mentone, Alabama. Some people will understand what I'm talking about, but yeah. I've also had a lot of stuff published, mostly.
Yeah, that's
different.
nice. With photography, it's a much more of a publishing situation.
Right.
So, is there books you've had published, or photos, or different organizations you've worked with that you feel have helped you along this journey?
Oh, well, I've had a lot of things published in Look at Alabama magazine and some different publications. Too many to even remember right now.
Yeah, it's not, when you get on the spot like this, very paid. So, as far as Chattanooga goes,
Right.
have you, like myself, I mean, it's scary. It's scary as an artist. I don't care how much you love your work, and
Yeah.
we don't do it. We do it because we love it. It just, you can't stop. It's your passion, and
Right.
photography, art, pottery, shooting up clay like Adam Kirby.
It really
Fine
is.
gallery, yeah.
Yeah.
So, does it hold you back at all? The fear of rejection. That's one of the biggest things for me. Is what if they don't like it?
I can definitely relate to that. There are mornings I wake up and I think, this is, it's all worthless and nobody's going to want to see this and it's just awful and I should just give up. But then something within you just has to do it. That's it. It brings me so much joy. I would shoot every day if I could for free. Obviously you can't pay the bills on what you love to do all the time. It's a wonderful life if you can, but luckily I work in a job where I get to do a lot of creative photography. So yeah, I'm able to do that.
Keeps things going for you with the creative process and keeping you in your love. And I think that's
yes.
important too. Is
Yes,
like
and something
you're-
different every day.
That's nice.
Yes.
Well, same. That's the thing. I think all of us aspire to do our dream, work within the industry that connects to our dream.
All right.
It's not always possible because there's those bills and all that stuff. But
Right.
we do have some things, Stephen, on my tablet to show if it doesn't die first. So I'm going to hold this up, and you can tell us a little bit of, describe first, because some of our people are viewing and a lot of our followers are listening.
Yes. Well, I started, my background was in newspaper photography, and I would love to have things on the front page of the newspaper. So some of my older work is, let's see there.
Ignore me. I'm technical, I'm an artist. The technical part, not so much.
Yeah. A lot of my earlier work is more of like documentary style, but what we're looking at here on the monitor is a portrait I've done. I love doing portraits of people. I think, I'll tell you just a story. When I was at the newspaper, someone brought in an obituary, and it was just a really crude snapshot of someone. I thought, how sad is that this person, they don't have anything to leave their family other than this tiny little snapshot that's been blown up so much that you can't even see who the person is. But I just love the opportunity to capture someone's personality, to capture them at whatever phase they're in their life. I think people are interesting. So portraits are what I love to do more than anything. That's a fashion.
In black and white, leaning on a building with a train in the background.
Yes.
You can't see it. It's very high contrast, kind of a serious looking photo.
Yes, that's a gentleman I went to high school with who's actually a fashion, kind of a superstar celebrity in Japan right now, named Koi Hall. And loved being able to work with him again. When we were in high school, I had no idea he was going to grow up and become like a big celebrity. And,
Is he in high school in this picture? He looks older.
No. He came back a few years ago. We did that after he was already a big celebrity. So, yeah.
Oh, that's even more fun.
Yes.
Do you have any really incriminating ones from him when he's in high school? What do you got from that?
Well, we were both a lot skinnier in high school. I'll put it that way. Yeah, and the one next to that one is one of my favorite shots. I love
Chattanooga shot of the aquarium, or is it the girls?
Well, the girls there, but I love finding spots around Chattanooga to get the best angle on, because really there's so many photos of Chattanooga, but I love getting something that no one else has gotten before, or just great timing of a sunset like that. But the other one was I love collaborating with models and people who just have an interesting face. And so I'm lucky whenever I can find people who kind of get it, what I'm going for, and want to do something. That was very stylish sort of fashion shoot. And everybody wants to know where did you shoot that, because it's a beautiful atrium. It's just an unbelievable location, and very how would you describe that? Painterly, I guess.
Yeah, it feels a little secret garden-esque.
Yes.
So this is two young ladies, brunette, long hair, and they're in kind of a white, looks like flowy short dresses with their legs, looking very pretty. And it's a very pretty, relaxed scene. So those of you who can't see it, it's a very pretty little picture. I do want to mention that I have a sponsor, Judah Guitars Music Store, and this, if you want to please your husband, excite him, your guitar playing husband, take him over to Judah's Guitar Music Store and check out the beautiful babes he's got there hanging around, because I've seen these musicians, pretty much kiss and hug their guitars before they go on stage and after, and I'm pretty sure they keep them in a very special place all the time nearby. So Judah Guitars Music Store, check it out in Saudi Daisy. Very, very beautiful guitars there.
Yes.
And this is Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, and we're talking with a local photographer, Steven Stiefel.
Yes.
And, you got Steens. So
nice, easy German name.
Yeah, Stiefel. So we've got that going on, and we're just talking about, so as a photographer in Chattanooga, Steven, how do you think that is reflected in the community as far as the art gallery's reception of photography, the kind of the percentage compared to the other forms of art?
Hard to say exactly, but I think the photography community is well represented. I think there's some amazing photographers in this town. You just have to go to the Chattanooga market on Saturday and
Sunday.
Yeah, excuse me. So, and you'll see some just amazing work on display of Chattanooga scenes and things like that.
And how about the area of nudes in photography? Because for me, with painting, there doesn't seem to be a huge receptive feeling in the galleries in Chattanooga for nude art, which, the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo, the masters, that has been with us since the dawn of time. Do you have that same kind of mindset, or do you see it in photography?
It just seems like this is a conservative area, and people are maybe warming up to that. I guess if you're a little more enlightened or don't think that it's that associated with I don't know, what am I trying to say?
It's not dirty, it's art.
Right. And I think
there's a line, I'm sure.
Right. And I'm sure intent of the artist has a lot to do with it. You can kind of tell if someone is just kind of being exploitive. And as one of my friends, Rick Hughes in Atlanta, put it, if they're just a photographer trying to get a trip to the strip club with souvenir photos, that's not really my approach. And, I think the intent of the photographer has a lot to do with how something is received, and hopefully you do something so beautiful that people can't possibly think anything is dirty about it or whatever.
Right. Well, I'm sure there's a line, as there is in anything, but
Sure.
I've seen this in.
It's always easier to present a painting or a sculpture of the female form than perhaps a photography, which is quite literal.
Yes. And sculpture seems to be pretty readily accepted, honestly, even in Chattanooga.
Right.
We have beautiful sculptures all through downtown Chattanooga as you drive through at the bridges and things like that. You have gorgeous sculptures.
Yes.
And I'm not all knowing, and I haven't hit every gallery, but definitely the perception of nudes in art seems to cause a little bit of discomfort in people. So I feel like talking about it from two artists who utilize the nude figure. I mean, I love life drawing, and I really enjoy doing that aspect of art, and in a very pure way.
I photographed a wedding here in Chattanooga one time, years and years ago, when I was working with another photographer, and the reception was at this couple's home. It was a very nice home, very large, very opulent, but they had a beautiful nude photo of the bride hanging above their couch. And I just thought, I'm from Fort Payne, Alabama, a little small town, Alabama. And at the time I just thought it was a little bit shocking, but it was also beautiful. I didn't look at it and say, it was just a beautiful work of art, and very personal and very expressive, and quite a conversation piece to say the least.
Well, at least all the guests felt familiar with her after they arrived.
Yeah.
But it's a tough thing to put yourself out there as a model for nude painting photography.
Well, there's no prop to work around. You're just pretty much you don't have like fashion where you have the clothes to kind of tuss.
The Huggy Bears a little,
Well, not even that. And most people are most people, you don't even want to see a whole lot of skin. But
Now we're trying to be nice. I'll paint any figure. I actually have a series of work that I'm not a photographer, but I shoot.
Well, I'm saying most people.
Because I find it super interesting to have a broad spectrum of the human figure.
Right. But most people are self-conscious anyway, and even if they meet whatever societal ideal or whatever, they still imagine the worst of themselves, and so they don't have that confidence to do that, I guess.
Yeah, at the Townsend at Lira, I never say that correctly. I know that it's one of those French words, but in other places here in Chattanooga, there are figure drawing sessions going on. They're not really classes; they're just workshops, and these models are very comfortable. They're comfortable because they don't feel exploited. They feel valued. It's almost reverent when we're drawing these figures and these people. It's a very quiet, reverent, serious time where people may be sculpting, people may be painting. I don't know if they allow photography at them. That's a very interesting question. It seems like another deal.
I don't know.
To take an actual photo, I bet you'd have to get permission. So, good question to look up, right?
Yeah, and there's a whole different energy when you're a photographer versus a painter or something. You're kind of just looking at the light. Well, not just looking at the light, but when you're a photographer, there's a whole energy between you and another person that you're trying to bring out of them while you're shooting, I guess.
Right, so it's a very interactive where you're actually, the energy is not there static and you're drawing the light and the figure as you see it. You're working on drawing out their actual personality, which can cross into art as well, portraits.
And that's whether you're photographing a small child that you're trying to get the personality out of, or someone who's doing a portrait that you just want to bring out their personality, because anyone can put somebody in front of a camera and push a button. But to capture that moment and that personality, that's the art of it.
Yes, and then of course all the wonderful aspects of the visual, seeing the lighting and whatever you include as the elements in there. So photography, it falls definitely in the definition that we talk about. What is art? It's something that our person creates to provoke an emotional response.
Yes.
So the same thing, and here in Chattanooga, whoops, so sorry.
I think art is also something that can express two different things to two different people, maybe.
Absolutely. Do you find that I found that really interesting when your work is on display and people respond to a piece and you find out something about your own work that you never saw previously to that. Does that happen with you? Sometimes,
but also the power to. They say a picture is worth a million words. One time I did a photo of my daughter at a dance. She's 14 years old now, and she has Asperger's, so she's a little socially awkward sometimes. But she was at her dance, and the little boy that was going to dance with her didn't show up. So I'm the nervous father over there and wanting everyone to love my daughter as much as I do, and she's just standing in the middle of the dance floor, and everybody's off in their little cliques in the background, and none of them are brave enough to get out there and dance. And she, bless her heart, she got out there and started dancing by herself. And I snapped that photo with my iPhone, actually, because that's all I had. But that's one of my all-time favorite photos, just because it was so brave of her to do that, to not care what anybody else thought, and just be there. And a moment later, everyone started joining her, and she just really broke the ice for the whole crowd. So I love that photo.
Yeah, so it's really about, even though like you as a professional photographer can produce images that I couldn't come close to as far as the resolution, the positioning, and all of that, it still comes down to provoking that emotion, capturing a moment in time.
Right. That's the very best photos are the ones that people look at and say, oh, wow, that's. And I'm totally addicted to the people seeing something on Instagram or on my website and reacting to it. That's my addiction in life is entertaining everyone.
Yeah, I think we all as artists, that feedback is so important, because if we produce it, and I mean, honestly, I have so much artwork sitting around that no one's ever seen. It's crazy. But
Right.
the more I put my work out there, the more I want to, the more it is wanted. But, you know, producing it, we can't stop. Most artists
Right.
can't stop. And yet you can end up with a lot of it, you know, until
Right.
you find the correct outlets for your work. Some of us may have to be like the masters and die first. And then they're going to be like, wow, Jillian Collins, what an amazing artist. Wow, Stephen Stiefel,
Yeah.
what an amazing photographer. But I personally want that now. You know,
Well,
don't really want to wait. So
pre-death is preferable. Yeah.
you know, my website, like I said, is vanguardartistry.com, and a lot of my work is not on there because I'm very much an artist and not so much into electronics.
But you do beautiful work.
Thank you. You can see some of it there. I also illustrated a book, which I always forget to bring, Poems from a Secret Garden by Fred E. Ballou, and that's available on Amazon. And it's a beautiful book about 140 pages of poetry, and I've done the illustrations and the cover, and it was a 2-year corroboration, basically, of creativity.
Mhm.
And that's, I guess, where artists get what you're talking about with interacting with your person you're photographing. Interacting as creative beings together, producing
Right.
the creative energy that
Mhm.
brings you forward to the next level, or the new connection that makes a new piece come out. Because as we all share creatively, it grows. It's kind of like the universal consciousness. You
Right,
know?
right.
So it just promotes more and more. So
I love.
website people can go to see your work and contact you if they'd like to check out your photography.
Yeah, that's great. My website is www.Stephen with a V, Steven, last name STIEFEL.com. So StephenStiefel.com.
So yeah, and he's got a pretty full portfolio on there in his website. Looks like you are pretty good at attending to yours, whereas mine, I'm more painting than putting it on the website. But
Well, I work.
we have a show in Ava right now
Yeah.
as well. I mean, not a show, a piece hanging downtown in the Ava Gallery.
Yeah.
If you want to see something of mine, support all the local artists, not just myself. But you know, if you want to see some things, go down to Ava. Check out the show down there right now.
Yes.
It's going to hang throughout the month, and
Yes.
then there's going to be a new one, the Emerging Artist Show. So very exciting. So they're promoting all of that, and I encourage photographers, enter these shows as well.
Yes.
Take your pieces, you know, your artists, get them out there with the rest of us.
And I definitely want to network with other photographers and creative people. I love musicians. I love painters. I love artists. I love photographing them because they get it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Stephen, and I really appreciate you talking about photography in Chattanooga. This is the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives, on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. You can continue listening to some other great programming today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks.